I am so terrible. I completely forgot to record this. Like, start recording it. Well, for people watching this on YouTube, I started just a minute late. It's just introduced Michael. We'll restart it here. We'll restart it. You know, Michael and Cliff in there. So you can just download the stream VOD, but it's a lot blurrier than me natively recording it. So, yeah, that's why I don't do that.
What you do here at 343?
Sure. I'm Michael Shore. I'm the lead Forge designer. I've been here for 4 years, and
what I said before,
Forge and got my hands in a little bit of.
I said the Forge team's awesome. Michael's awesome. Cliff's awesome.
Yeah.
Just everyone a part of the Forge team's awesome.
Cliff.
Super passionate.
I'm Cliff Schultz. I am one of the multiplayer level designers. I originally came from the Forge community, so this is a very special moment for me.
For people who don't know, what is Forge?
Forge is a game engine that ships in the Halo Infinite
Forge
free
is
play
everything.
Product. It'll come out this November, and it's a mode where you can design maps, you can design new modes, or just new experiences that you wanna play with your friends. It's super powerful little game engine.
And what makes Infinite's version so special?
Well, we've fixed a lot of things. We've improved existing things based on community feedback. We've added a lot of new features that we wanted and the community wanted. So it's a really nice package now.
That's good to hear. But
Yeah.
we don't just want to talk about it. We do want to show it. And Cliff, I know you've been
Michael
working on
does.
something,
Michael,
incredible over
he
there.
is super passionate.
walk
Like,
us through
he
what you
wants
decided to
Forge to
build?
be the best it
Yeah,
can be,
totally.
which is awesome.
What we have here is the starting for Foundation and campaign,
Ooh.
but we recreate it in Forge. My goal
I haven't
for
seen
was
this.
to make an experience that's similar to what we see in campaign and to show off the power of what Forge can be able to achieve in this.
This looks so
Prior
good.
in Halo 5, we could only dream to do something like this. So to
Yeah,
build,
Halo
to
5
have
couldn't
this
handle
now
this
and to be able to
lighting.
create these very rich environments is a huge blessing for anyone that's forging.
Yeah, so right now, how'd you go about building this?
Budget
You
so
said
far,
earlier
38%
when we
on
were
there.
talking, before we started recording that we used a lot of campaign assets.
Yeah, so the cool thing about, part of that wish list is built to have more campaign assets. So the Forge team whipped a bunch of campaign assets and included it. So I rearranged all those campaign assets to be able to make the Foundation starting point.
You want to take us through there?
Totally.
Really quick? Show us a little bit more of what you've been making and building. And this is all in Forge.
It's all in Forge. Yeah, the art team did a great job of bringing over these campaign assets and multiplayer assets into Forge.
Yeah, it looks
to
fantastic.
give us a wide range of objects that players can make stuff with.
It looks so good.
It's super sexy.
So what kind of tools helped you build this and put this creation
Like,
together?
the thing is,
Yeah,
Halo
totally.
5,
well, we have a bunch of
it couldn't
different
handle this lighting.
tools. The one that I used for this quite a bit was magnets. It was really great to be able to snap the hexes together to be able to get on their right grid.
Mhm.
The other one, too, we have duplication. So since this is a lot of repeating objects,
magnets, duplication,
duplicating,
stuff
instead of
brought
having to
over
go
from
and
Halo
spawn
5,
in
definitely
a new object, I'm able
a
to just
useful-
duplicate what I currently have and kind of
a useful
rearrange,
thing.
The objects.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, mind showing an example?
Yeah, totally. So if I want to duplicate this hex right here, I can just simply duplicate it, and then I'm going to
Oh my
snap a
gosh,
magnet
so
to
serious.
it, and boom.
That's real nice. And if you didn't
Am
like
I in
that
Forge at the
edition,
moment?
we also
No.
have
I'm watching the
under
video.
the
I haven't
first
watched
time
it yet.
So
in
if I
Forge.
fat finger something or whatever, I can be able to just click undo, and it'll go back to
Guess
the
I could go ahead and
steps.
pop chat into
Or
the
if I
screen.
want to put it back, I can hit redo.
And that's a first. And that's
That's a first. That was a
Yes.
huge community.
Yeah,
wish
undo-
list, when I
undo,
first started
redo.
Here. It was top of my quality of life update stuff.
It was
just
like number one.
like
you know?
anything that you use using a computer has an undo, right? So
Mhm.
it makes perfect sense.
We also have snap to the ground.
Yeah, so if I have, we'll just take one of these. I'm going to duplicate it, and if I want to put in the middle here, instead of having to go and fidget around, I can just tap the X button, and it will automatically snap to the ground for the object, which has been a huge blessing for spawning any objects in to get an understanding for the reference of their size.
Mm-hmm. I didn't even think about that for like spawn points too when you're just building
Spawns
out
are
your map.
huge,
You
yes.
just always want to place it on the ground anyways. We've got another cool feature I'd love to talk about, which is scaling.
Yeah. So I'm going to fly out of the world here. I have some objects that I utilized for
The no
making
clip
this
is
space.
huge too. It's nice having
so
that.
Any of this stuff I can be able to grab, and then I can be able to scale it down, scale it upwards, or I can also scale it by per plane. So if you see here, I've grabbed this.
Did I
object
just wake up? I'm always
and
tired.
I
I got 3 kids.
flattened it because I'm really liking the texture.
No, I
of the
didn't just wake
material
up.
We have on here for this face.
Been awake since
So, for
7 in the morning.
example,
It's 2
So you can
2
scale
p.m.
in
right
any
now.
direction
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
on almost any object.
Yep.
On most objects.
So
Really nice.
I wanted this detail for the front of the hexes to replicate what we had in campaign. So the trick that I used here is I grabbed one of these pieces and then flattened it because I was really
Yeah,
in love with how
scaling is so
detailed
great.
The front of this wall
You could do a
is,
lot of cool stuff with
or
it.
this pillar.
Yeah. So you could use it as a decal, like art,
Yeah.
to art up the wall.
Been awake since 4:45 a.m.
Next,
Oh,
actually,
geez.
part of scaling, I know you had a few other things you wanted to show off.
Yeah,
like the terrain.
Sol, he basically
and,
scaled
certain
it to where it was
branches
just
running.
while
flat.
I'm
So
flying
he
over
just
there,
made it flat.
That we have not talked about is we
pretty
can
awesome.
be able to move through objects now. That's something that we take for
Oh,
granted now.
they're talking about it now.
Yeah,
Yes, so it's
Yeah.
been really great. So if we make it an enclosed environment,
No
like
clip
that, we don't
stuff
have to
is
fly
really
all
nice.
The way around. We're able to fly through objects. Has been a huge blessing.
Yeah, no clip has been that's another one of those quality of life updates that we had to add.
Giga Grunt.
So yeah. So when I was doing
That's
this,
kind of
one
what I
my
did with
friends
my
jumped into the
sandbox
game
map in
and,
the leaked
was
build.
messing around with the
You know,
grunt,
I
and
made
he
that sandbox.
Giga Grunt here.
I
So
made the
this
dead
is-
bodies really large
this
and
is
made
the
them
normal
look like
size of the
they're
grunt.
alive and like playing in the
And then
sandbox.
he decided to scale it up and was messing around.
We're
with
gonna
me,
sell
which was
Texas oil fields.
comical.
Boof.
Yeah, and we actually showcase naming of objects when you highlight
Unique.
a big
That's
one.
great.
So now you can custom name objects throughout your entire Forge build.
Yeah,
Right?
it's been really great for like if I have any like custom assets, and if I need to go search for it, I can be able to name it uniquely now instead of having to be like Grunt 5000 and going through a number list.
Grunt 5000.
You can spot the
Yeah,
one
it's
that
really
you
nice that
know
you can
is
rename
Giga Grunt.
some
Yeah.
stuff.
It's also helpful, like we'll talk about this a little later, but the budget in Forge has been increased exponentially. And when you have a lot of objects, when you can name them what you want, they're easier to find, they're easier to organize. So that's another bonus there.
Yeah, just because you got more stuff to
So
manage.
I agree. I hope they do as well.
Organization always
Yeah.
helps.
You need to
And then
integrate
also
community
terrain, we
maps
wanted to
as quickly as
take a look
possible
at
to
it
just
so you
keep
can build
content
something.
fresh and
Yeah,
matchmaking.
So part of the scaling, we do have these awesome terrain pieces. There's a lot of great additions that that the art team has added to for terrain. Specifically, we could be able to make mountains now. So this is the object size what it spawns in, and we can even make it smaller. And so I made like this.
So that's the same piece.
That is the
Terrain
same
rugged
piece,
is
yeah.
the best.
It could be a hill or it could be a giant mountain.
Yep, and I can even make it smaller to be like I want to add like dirt around like a cement area, like like rubble, like to a fallen apart building, whatever I want to do with that. So that's another. You don't have to always upscale everything. You can build to make small set dressings in a level, which is like
Which canvas is this?
this is
Is
the
it blank?
this is the blank
Okay.
canvas.
Do you mind showing the actual scaling up to that mountain size?
Yeah, totally.
Super cool looking. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so it's that same piece, and that counts as one object in
Correct.
your object count.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, lots of flexibility there.
Excellent.
Super useful.
Yeah.
Super useful, especially for those bigger maps. Up next, I know we wanted to take a look at arting a map.
Yeah.
And I know we have some awesome work from the art team with materials.
Yeah, so it's really cool because like in Halo 5, like we had pre-designated objects, and they can sometimes be limiting. Now the cool thing about this is we have a bunch of different material swaps.
There are so many
So
materials.
in this example here, this is
I made a video
design
over all the
set that we have.
materials.
I've
Just
just
at,
grabbed the
in
block,
the leak
duplicated
build
it,
and all that type
go and
stuff.
material swapped it.
Oh my gosh.
Obviously we have it
Like
all
there's
for
so
our,
many.
materials
Like
that
Halo
you see.
5
But the
what
cool
had
thing about
5
this is
materials
I
or
want to add
something
some
like
grind
that?
to it, or scratches, or I want to make it not so shiny. So I can be able to change material,
There's so many.
and then I can also
and
change
infinite.
material and change the color material. But we also have a bunch of unique material that is not just in Halo lore. Like so
I love the
we
brick
have like
type of
dirt,
materials. The rugged,
we
what is
have
it called?
corrugated
Rugged
metal,
brick
we
or
have
something?
cobblestone, camo. We have some silly ones like polka dots and stripes.
Like a gift wrapping.
Totally. So
yeah.
if you want to do a present for your friend's birthday, we got you covered.
And then, even more like stone and brick, which is super cool. And then we can apply that on most objects too, right?
Yeah, so here we changed the grunt. Like I think someone selected like looks like the metaling, like
It's like
the
a corrugated metal on top of a shack or something.
yes,
right?
exactly. Look, the stuff you see like in Bazaar.
The sheet
we
metal
pulled
stuff.
from there.
Yeah.
And so they changed it along. They changed it with the color of it. Because normally I think these spawn in like just a default purple that the grunt has.
Could you walk us through a few of
Totally.
those options? Yeah.
Yeah, so we have a couple different things. So yeah, metal corrugated. So if I want to go through and change the material, I can do that, or we can go through the list as well too. Same thing with the color. We can select whatever color that we want to do.
Yay, colors.
And kind of update it. Now there's also different regions that we want. So if I want to change.
By the way, Halo
body,
VFX, this is how you would do a Covenant type of thing. You would just
all those
try to
options
find the
for
right material that
all
would
those
look like it,
objects.
Totally.
All the time.
and then just change it to like
That's it.
purple or something.
Including a Giga Grunt.
Yes, including the Giga Grunt.
Oh, you haven't seen any Forge
I
footage
wanted to
before
dive in.
this?
We did see the Forge
Yeah.
menu just now as you were kind of going through. those.
Forge, Infinite
color
Forge is
options.
insane.
We've got the object browser and lots of other cool stuff, and it's all organized in a little bit of a new fashion from Halo
Totally.
5.
Yeah, a little bit. One of the key things that we added to the object browser this time around was the ability to preview the object before you place it. So now you can see the size of an object. You can see the colors it has.
Yeah, it's really nice. You can preview it.
Previously in Halo
Didn't just have that
5,
green
it was
block.
it was just a green box, right? And
Yeah.
so this to us is a big improvement there. All of these objects are, because of scaling, all these objects.
I know I'm in the
are-
way right now.
We don't need to have
from
different
the,
size variants. So while we
Them
we have
scrolling through
thousands
the
of objects
list
in the
over here on
browser,
this side,
we don't need to.
but
like
over on this side?
with size
Oh, well.
variants of each one.
Yeah. Is that a red party cup there?
Yep. Yep.
For the Grunt?
Yeah.
Scale it up to the Giga Grunt size.
The Giga Grunt needs a drink.
Thirsty. In addition to the Forge menu, we also have some radial menus for the actions and tools, correct?
We do, yes.
Yeah, so with some of these new features, we had to figure out where they were going to fit in a control scheme, and the logical solution to that was to have radial prefabs. Obviously, we don't have a lot of objects or a lot of options on that radial menu right now, but it's designed to expand as we expand our Forge functionality in the future.
Nice. And Cliff, we just saw you make a prefab. For folks who don't know, what is a prefab?
Yeah, so a prefab, for example, on my map, I have a prefab already set up, which was really useful setting up all that detailed layering because how the hexes are built. So I saved that. But the cool thing, too, is if you want to share them, you can build to bookmark prefabs. So I
prefabs.
have one of the forgers, Max Extra, has made like this really awesome hollow table. And so I asked you if I
That's
could
great. I haven't
prefab it,
seen
and
It's really good.
yeah, really, really clever. So
Yeah,
he,
that's an
used
awesome
effects
prefab
and, like,
for
I think a
Max.
satellite dish, and like there was another object for the base of it. But yeah, so that's been
Looks
really
pretty
useful.
good.
So like if you make something unique that we don't offer in our objects, let's say if I made this race car, I can build a prefab
Race
that,
car!
and I can build save it for future maps. So if I want to make another city map or give it to someone that might need to use it for their map, that is now a great feature that we have.
So it's a group cluster of objects
Correct.
that you can then save as that group and then share with your friends.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can
Super
save it
easily
locally
shareable.
to your map,
Mhm.
or you can save it to your files to use it in other maps, and or to share it with your friends,
Real nice.
or share it with the public.
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
make an awesome gingerbread house that I want to use on my map.
That's right.
I can just copy it. If
There you
make
go.
a prefab. Very cool. We also on the radio menus have a little bit of what else do we have on there? Yeah.
We've got a node graph. We've got the build menu, and we've got quick save.
Nice. And the build menu, don't want to dive too deep in on that, but you can now kind of customize what aspect of the Forge map you want to build.
Right. So we've inherited a lot of features from the Slip Space engine, which was the foundation of Halo Infinite. And so the way lighting and audio and nav mesh and reflection volumes work is you have to build that data. And so where you go to build that data is the build menu. We'll explore that at a later date, won't we?
Cool.
Yeah.
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
And we did have node graph. I saw you had popped up there. We've got that coming up in our next video where we talk about scripting.
Scripting.
And we did mention just the fact that we've got so many inputs. That's why we decided to go radial menus. We have multiple control schemes for controller, correct?
Yeah, I think we have 4 different control schemes. We've got a default one. We've got a default alt, I believe, that switches the up and down buttons, because that was some concern to some people. That we've got a legacy one that kind of is as close as we could get to the Halo 5 control scheme as we could. And there's one more, and I forget which one it is.
But plenty of options, so players can
One
find
more
that feels best for them as they're making maps.
Absolutely.
The one more is in the league
So now
build,
I
so
wanna
I can
take some
talk about
time
it.
and
The one more
dive in on
is
Forge Council members
a
map
reach
right here.
style.
It's called Curfew, and it was arted
You know,
by
like the
Sick
older
Mechanical,
style.
and
Sick.
He took this and made it stunning, right?
Yeah. Well, this is, I mean, literally dripping with vibe here. This is just gorgeous.
Looks
I
so
can't
good.
believe he whipped this out in a pretty short time, as I understand it.
All Forge.
Oh, this is all Forge.
Yeah.
100% Forge. Just really gorgeous. I love this kind of, like I said, just the fog, like the kind of cyberpunk vibe.
All the extra detail.
Yeah, exactly.
And if we wanted to break down this map and kind of reverse engineer it, we actually have a really cool tool right there. You can see on the bottom center of the screen, the object detail panel.
Yeah, so basically, wherever you hover your cursor, the object details panel just gives you data about that object, right? So we're looking at this wreckage hole box A, and you can tell that it's a static object versus dynamic. You can set that the physics has been set to phased, and then you can see where it's located, how it's been rotated from its default, and what the size values are. So at a glance, you can just go. This
You
is
want to fly around and show off like how many different objects Sick Mechanico used here? Yeah.
Yeah,
Just tons of detail, tons of different
It's
objects.
pretty awesome
Yeah,
that they're
he's
showing off
at-
6 map.
And he's at like
I haven't
60%,
seen it yet. They've been doing, some
65% of
stuff
the
like
budget.
Something
you know,
like
some
this
people
to
have jumped
achieve
in
this
to
quality of
check it
level.
out, but
I
I've been
think
gone
every
every
forger,
weekend, so I've been able to look
that
at
gets
anyone's.
this,
So
they
it's cool.
cry because it gets to a point where they drop their frames, and they have to start dissecting their map and reducing it, and we always cried over that. So
but
this
that's
is
not the case
this
anymore.
is not the case anymore. Like
Nice.
to get this is amazing. Like he's only at 65, and this is very rich environment.
Yeah.
And Cliff, you wanted to show off one aspect that you thought was really cool.
Yeah, so the thing about Forge, like anyone's asked us in the past, was like, how do you make a good Forge map? To like take it to the next level. Don't use objects as they are intended, and use them in a unique, interesting way. So like something that we had a hard time is to do small set dressing in Halo 5. Now the cool thing that I saw Sigma Mechanic would do is he has a flaming barrel and he has like this looks like trash, but what it really is he's made this terrain piece and shrunken it down to make that trash, which we didn't have this type of stuff in Halo 5. So to make this scene more believable, he's made objects and manipulated them into
So good.
something different that they're not intended, which I think is really awesome.
And that's one of those terrain pieces that we saw that could become its own
Correct,
mountain
yeah.
and hill,
So-
but he squished it down into a trash can to
Yeah, so
detail
when I was looking at like the
flaming trash.
flame, because I was like, oh, like how did he get grass in there? Like holy cow! I'm like, wait a minute, this is a train piece. Like, wait, what?
Really clever, really clever. And we were.
It's always good to
mentioning
use
that
pieces how they're
he
not
is
supposed to
still
be meant
only
to
at
use.
65% of his budget, right? We've had some budget improvements, and we've expanded the total budget, right?
Yeah.
Total object count and stuff like that.
Yeah, Halo 5 was 1,600 objects, the most you could put in. Right now, with this version of Forge, we're at around 7,000 objects that you can place.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
so,
insane.
yeah, huge improvement there. it's yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
that's-
know what else to say about
yeah.
it. It's just so massive.
Exactly,
It'll help 'em
Arpod.
unlock some,
It's incredible.
untap some new potential for sure.
For sure.
And one benefit of our how we now like render objects is when they're static, they don't have quite the same like performance impact that they used to in Halo 5.
Yeah, now that we have, we have static objects and dynamic objects. For reference, every object in Halo 5 was a dynamic object, which meant that the engine was thinking about that object every frame, right? Which is
Mhm.
why we had a relatively low budget. Now with static objects, they're basically just geometry that the player and grenades and stuff collides with. And so like the engine doesn't have to think about static objects every
Good.
frame, right? So it gives us the chance to put a lot more of those objects in the scene because the engine is not overburdened in that
Mhm.
regard.
Good.
That is fantastic
Yeah.
to hear. But I think that's gonna do it overall for
That's
us
gonna be it.
Today.
Love the
Taking our
city.
first look at Forge in Halo Infinite. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today, guys.
Absolutely.
Did you have any closing words as we kind of wrap up?
So
I'm
good.
just super excited to see what the community does with this. I've already seen a bunch of cool stuff,
Mhm.
official and unofficial,
Yeah.
and it's just fantastic. So I can't wait for this to be out in the public and see what everyone does.
Me coming from the community and coming internal and shipping the game, I traded like the surprise of the game being revealed your first day or whatever, right? The thing for me, my first day reveal is when forgers get these maps and make something new. So, something that I did not have my hands on and get to experience something brand new. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, there's no more surprises.
No,
for
there's
you.
no more
But
surprises.
now you're
Mhm.
really surprised by what people build.
Yeah, I was like,
with
oh,
this.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
I don't want to know the end of campaign. Yeah, forget about that.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much again for joining us.
Great.
And everyone else, thank
I
you for
cannot-
watching. And we will
This is
have
close
even
in,
more
yep.
Forge videos coming out over the coming weeks. We're going to focus on scripting next, then
Mhm.
lighting, and then we'll touch on file management or asset management and file browsing and all that cool stuff. But that'll do it for us today. Thank you so much. And we'll see you all
Excellent,
next time.
excellent. Is it uploaded in 4K yet? Because I would like to be able to. Or is it not going to go 4K? Dang it. It's not going to go 4K. But yeah, this beginning thing right
Yeah.
here is
Starting
awesome.
for Foundation, the
You know,
campaign, but we
This whole
recreated
thing. I'm just so excited. That would be pretty cool, DT. But yeah, I'm just so excited with the just the overall just what you can do, with everything. Like this, just this in Halo 5, but also with 6 map over here. Let's go ahead and jump over to 6 map over here. Like 6 maps over here. Like the thing is, we wouldn't be able to do any of this in Halo 5. This much detail and the lighting would completely be shot in Halo 5. Of course, yeah, you wouldn't be able to put as much detail and everything. But it's just like this type of stuff you couldn't do at all. Where's the part where he walks around so it's not just flying around and stuff? Right up here, I think. It's coming up right up here. But it's like, yeah, it's like, look at this. This is just so great, just being able to, like, look at the way this looks. Oh, man. It'd be so cool. Like having maps like this into matchmaking, and it's actually running smooth and stuff. Like, it's one of those things where, yeah, Halo 5 is just absolutely, like, it's rough. Like, someone tweeted out, recently, just a Night Avenger tweeted out like a pretty cool scene that he made in Halo 5, and you go back and look at that and you're like, oh my gosh, the lighting is absolutely atrocious. But of course you couldn't do anything. You couldn't do anything about the lighting in Halo 5. Like, you're just like, well, this is how it's gonna be. Like, once I put out 5 pieces of grass, immediately everything, the FPS starts tanking, and then you put out a bunch of objects, then certain objects will just turn black and everything. Like, it's just one of those stuff. You can't deal with that type of stuff in Halo 5. So it's awesome being able to have maps with really cool proper lighting for Infinite. And this is just the start as well. Like Michael said, earlier in the video, like, he said something about expanding on stuff in the future and everything like that. And I'm excited. because with Halo 5 they expanded, you know, that Forge mode, you know, over the course of, you know, like, I don't know how long. How long did they keep adding stuff? A couple years or something like that? I can't wait till just in the future where they keep adding more and more stuff in this, more stuff to build with, like a lot of like great stuff like that. So this is definitely awesome. I'm pumped for the future of Forge. So I just want to say thanks everyone for coming out. That will be it for this video. I will be doing more Forge stuff, of course, you know, later on, and everything. So that'll be it though for this video. Thanks everyone for coming out. Appreciate it. And remember, let's forge a new Halo.